Avast! And welcome to Blades and Banners, a Tales of the Valiant actual play set in the Eberron campaign world. Eric!
Yes.
You scurvy dog. What happened last time?
Arg. We were on an abandoned ship, a ghost ship, as it were, both figuratively and literally. Finian was using his fancy goggles to see invisible things. He warned Orin of grievous danger from a ghost in a hammock, and Orin bravely fought the enemy off. We found a mirror in the hold of the ship, along with a corpse with a notebook that had the logs of the ship, but the last bunch of pages just had the word lost over and over, and the last 3 pages had the word lost in Orin's handwriting, which is super cool. Also, the mirror, anybody that looked into it, the reflection turned into a ghoul, except Orin had a weird reflection that was also there in addition to his normal reflection. Super cool. But Sahina and Finian took care of the mirror, getting the frame specifically off of the mirror and destroy.
Yeah, y'all disassembled the frame.
And the actual mirror itself was not an issue once the frame was taken care of. Then we took the ship to Durga, thank you. Took the ship to Durga, and she gave it to us for job well done. So now we have a ship, and Orin has an officer's coat, which means he's a fancy man. So. And Finian has officer's boots. So
That's true. Y'all did loot the body of
the corpse
of an officer. Yep,
a future Orin.
So that is where we are picking up. You are aboard this ship, the Traveler's or the Traveler's Gift, and it has been rigged up to be towed by Durga's flagship. You guys have been left aboard as the prize crew, and really all you will perhaps need to do is somebody might man the wheel in case you need to steer a little bit to avoid running into something as you are towed back to Cinderport. But there's not obviously much to man at this point because, as you may recall, the sails are just gone.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Mm-hmm. The mast as well, not just the
mast.
sails?
I believe the mast was there. I believe it was just the sails were just gone.
No
like,
sails.
Not torn or anything, just absent.
Sorry, Mia.
Oh, I was just confirming Cinderport.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Cinderport is the seat of the Coral Fang Principality on the island of Seventh.
Do you know what? I have that written down in my notes already.
Hey,
I just needed to look.
Hooray. So, as you are being towed back to port, your view ahead is of the much larger vessel, the Kesh Dur, Durga's flagship. You can see various members of the crew standing at the back of the ship, jeering and waving as the ship comes into tow and starts to move off. Who takes the helm? Like who would go over to the wheel and man the wheel to just avoid obstacles generally?
Finian would be up there if no one else had made a move for it. It's the most mechanical thing on this ghost ship, and that's where he's most comfortable. So he'd probably be up at it.
All right, so we've got Finian standing at the helm in your nice new boots. The
kicking the heels to try to wiggle that toe space.
Wind ruffling Finian's hair. What's everyone else doing? There's nothing else really required to make the ship work at the moment, but what's everyone else doing?
Orin would have gone back down to the hold. The hold, his handwriting in a notebook being held by a skeleton wearing a jacket he is now wearing, has not left his brain. So he's just investigating the other stuff that's down in the hold, seeing if there's anything of note. So,
Okay. As we looked so last time, it's mostly old decrepit stuff. You guys brought up the strong box full of valuables that Durga has essentially declared will be used to fund the refitting of the ship. There are a lot of rats. As you recall,
dead rats.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Orin also had he finds one of the bags down there and empties it and is also collecting the dead rats as he is investigating. Just no need to keep the dead rats.
Clean up. Yeah. So that's a problem that's only going to get worse if you if you wait on it. So, all right. So Orin is down, looking around in the hold and doing a little bit of tidying up of your rat corpse problem. What about Albanos?
So Heina is also looking in all the nooks and crannies, looking for things. I would say cleaning as well, but also thinking about where it is that she wants to. She's making plans in her head about where she wants to be and where maybe she can set up a sort of a stage for performance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Ellie Wise is back in the kitchen. She's hanging around that door, making sure that there aren't more noises coming from it. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, the dining table was set too, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so she's picking that up. We're not going to eat that food.
Says
fresh food waste is a big problem in this country.
Right? I mean,
but we aren't.
I'm just up here waiting for a plate.
Good luck.
All right. So, as this is happening, as we're in these various places, what's your character feeling right now? You went over here because either Durga trusts you or wasn't very worried about you being killed when the ship exploded. And then it ended with Durga informing you that this is your ship. What's the feeling for your character at that?
An immeasurable weight of responsibility.
The weight of an uncertain debt and wondering how we pay this back. And if everyone's staying.
All right. So Heina is feeling pride and some excitement and also some trepidation about settling in with a new crew and just nervous about that.
Ellie Wise thinks this makes sense and is crazy excited about the upcoming adventures. The name of the ship being the Traveler's Gift, the intrigue of the ghosts that she is confident are still on the ship.
Excellent. I'm curious, how does each of your characters feel about the old name of the ship? Because, for those who don't know Eberron very well, the Traveler is a member of the general pantheon of Eberron, but the portion of the pantheon that the Traveler is associated with is called the Dark Six, and the Traveler is ambivalent in alignment. The Traveler is the patron of creativity artifice and art, but also change and uncertainty. And the phrase most associated with the following of the traveler is to beware the traveler's gifts, because they have uncertain consequences. So is your character's reaction of what a great name, or is it, man, we got to change that?
Finian loves it. As a chosen pirate, fan of the folklore, lifestyle, and the artifice as well, he's kind of hoping that it is named intentionally, and that perhaps that's of benefit to his life in the future.
I think Sahina is feeling like, yeah, this makes sense. Of course, this would be the name, and she's sort of resigned to it, but also hoping that we can change it.
Ellywise is excited about the name in the lore that's going to come from it.
Mm.
Like, this is a crew. You know, she's already spinning the tales in her head. This is a crew that isn't messed with because they steer and sail on the traveler's gift. And so she's excited about the lore that goes with that, the sort of the stories that are going to come from it. But she is also nervous about what this might mean for them individually.
Mm.
Oren's definitely jumpy about it. His life has been one full of possibility and change and consequences of that. And so he has a very rebellious spirit, which makes him, like, in concept, really like the Traveler. But he's had a life that has told him, like, to a point, man, to a point.
Yeah. So you, before too long, you can see 7th from a long way off in good weather, because per a decision of the player group, the highest point of 7th is a semi-active volcano. And there are
Be fine.
2 consistent rivers of magma that flow, 2 consistent lava flows that flow down either side of the mountain, and down all the way out to the sea, where they form these weird obsidian reefs at either end of the island. And it's still a little ways longer before you round the point of the island and come into its bay towards the town of Cinderport. So Cinderport is clustered around a bay on the eastern side of 7th, and its center point, the thing you can see best from it, is this tall keep with pointed roofs. Think more, rather than like Western castle, think more Japanese keep with the sort of layers inward, and roofs and things like that instead of crenellations. That is Durga's hall. Not huge, but substantial for the town. And probably a lot of you are going to the thoughts about that, similar to Finian's mind, of what does this really mean about us and Durga? Durga's a person who has a lot of kind of rumor and story built around her. She seized control of 7th about 20 years ago, when during the period where High Prince Ryger was just getting started and seizing control of the northern parts of the principalities before he had seized the title of High Prince. And there was a lot of chaos, and in that chaos, one of the major principalities at the time, the Stormclaw Principality, collapsed in on itself, and the captains all started pulling apart at it. And into that is where Durga arrived and seized 7th as an outsider. And so there's all these stories about the timing of Durga's arrival in the principalities. Did she have something to do with the death of the last Stormclaw prince? And she is part of a group of contenders for dominance in the region, along with the Karaktar Principality on Thrug, and the Riptide Principality out on Redwatch, all of which are kind of in contention for dominance around Nine Bay, which is this big island north of 7th that doesn't have a prince right now. There's lots of little port towns that have sea lords, but the island itself is contested territory right now.
The whole island?
Yeah, the whole island of Nine Bay is without an official prince. There's a sort of, each little port has its own sea lord, but no principality has managed to achieve dominance on that island yet.
I think you mispronounced up for grabs.
And so I'm curious about some rumors you've heard about Durga. So there's 2 things that everyone knows about Durga, past that she's a hobgoblin. One is she's only got one eye. One of her eyes is just blind and white and milky. The other one is golden like a wolf's. And so Finian and Sahina, how has each of you heard that she lost her eye? What's the rumor you've heard about the loss of her eye?
Oh gosh, I'm not coming up with anything specific other than it was this very exciting fight that she got into where she lost the eye, but she was a victor despite that.
Awesome.
That she hasn't addressed what her activities were during the war. And the rumor was that she was captured and it was gouged as a form of torture, and that she did not break. And that's why her expectations are so high, is she lost an eye and laughed in the face of it.
Wow.
Awesome. The other thing that, and probably fewer people are aware of this because you have to understand hobgoblins and goblin culture a little bit, but all of you have been around her enough to do this. Lesh Durga owns a Lesh Sharat, which is an artifact from the old Hobgoblin Empire, which is these were blades, weapons that were carried by the great warlords of that old empire. Eliwise and Orin, what's a story you've heard about how she got it?
She, excuse me. I don't know if this is possible, so tell me to try again if it doesn't work. But she found a shipwreck, and
Oh, okay.
this was her get from the treasure of that shipwreck. But she won't ever say, she doesn't confirm it and won't say where it was.
Cool.
I'm gonna get like Eberonian, I'm trying to think of the right word, but I can't. Orin heard from some other hobgoblins that have been in the principalities that their cousin's friend was there. Totally. But Durga, during her escalating conflicts with Lesh Haruk Shraktor before she went to the principalities, actually challenged him to a duel of sorts and won and claimed this as her prize for the win. But because of the way that Haruk Shraktor had changed the nature of Dargoon into a much more codified government, her victory wasn't recognized the way it would have been in the way she intended it to be, because bureaucracy made it to where he was still the victor in actuality, but she still has that as a trophy for when she bested him.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So you all have been living and working in the Coral Fang Principality for a while. And so just as part of this game that's going to have a much higher faction aspect of it, we need to define some things about that. So the way that we're going to do this, and I've shared with you guys a sort of a character sheet for the Principality, is we need to establish what the Principality's strengths are. So the factions, for our purposes, are going to have the abilities or the attributes of influence, intrigue, might, mystical, and wealth. So these are, skills in diplomacy and that sort of thing for influence. Intrigue is representing their spycraft and a way to be ability to be underhanded. Might is all about direct force, the application of direct force. Mystical is magical aspects, whether it be a tradition of druidic culture or just really potent wizards happen to live here. And then if wealth is wealth. It's how rich the Principality is. So which of those attributes is highest for the Coral Fang Principality? And there's not a right answer here. This is kind of you guys getting to define the character of the Principality that Durga rules.
I think we decided on mystical being the highest.
Okay. Cool. So that's going to be a +3. Then you get to assign a +2. Which of these attributes is going to go at a +2, do you guys think?
Intrigue?
You guys can table talk.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Gonna go. We did.
I see.
To I believe, unless there was a dissenting voice, we were gonna go with intrigue as the second of the strengths.
Cool. And then you get 2 +1s for the remaining 3.
We did not make it that far in our conversation.
This is just me as a player in most things, including character creation. Might to me is the most boring. Like, I would be inclined to go influence and wealth just because that's more interesting to me, but you all can feel free to push back on that.
I want to just to argue, but
But you
I
actually
concur.
agree with me wholeheartedly.
Let me say my own opinions. Okay? I don't-
Well, we
But yes,
talked
I agree.
about potentially striving for influence and wealth, and I don't know how that affects what we would pick.
No harm in getting a head start, though.
Can you define might a little more for us? Would that be like size of the force, the size of the ships that we have?
It would be about the application of direct force. So I'm going to solve the problem by defeating the problem through force. So that could represent a larger force available to you. It could also represent the quality of the force that's available to you, as opposed to the size of it. Would both be represented by the abstraction of might. So might mean we've got a lot of warriors. Might also mean we've got a small number of really good warriors.
I feel, and this is, I promise not to back up my case of just arguing with Eric. I feel like wealth, since we've established that we have a trade, be it limited, would be a place that makes sense to have the 1 point. And that would also reinforce might for me, because we've got mystical. So clearly we are going to be more capable in that regard than others that we run up against.
I don't have strong feelings one way or the other, so that works for me.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'm thinking through is we had talked about influence and wealth sort of being the things that we pursued.
Mhm.
And so going ahead and putting something in might, so it's not 0 and we're not trying
Right.
to actively pursue something that we're less interested in.
Yeah, that works. Fine by me.
So we're putting the other +1 in might. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. And then influence is sitting at a flat 0 modifier for the moment.
But not for long.
Perhaps not.
Moving on up.
Makes sense. She's an outsider, so makes sense
Yeah.
the influence would be low.
And then finally, you get to, based on the scale that you decided to be a minor principality, you get to pick 2 things that the principality is particularly good at that will be specialties of the principality. So this would be like a skill proficiency under one of those attributes. And this really can be anything. It could be some of those things that we've already defined about the principality, the different resources that you guys have developed. So like that trade in Scorchwood that Colin developed as when we were talking about the principality offline. That would be a wealth specialty. It's an asset that you guys have that you're trading. And pretty much anytime we make a roll for the principality that specialty would apply, you get to add your proficiency bonus to the check is how that works. I'll give you a sort of a sample list of what some specialties might be. A lot of this, for those of you at home wondering, is sort of adapted from the Fantasy Age rules for organizations. So, some organization focuses might be particular specialty troops or advanced weapons, and mystical focuses might be enchanters or just like a specialized source of lore, like a mystical library, or some sort of supernatural force imbuing the lands of the organization. Intrigue would be things like assassins, spies, secrets, criminal contacts. Influence would be things like religious connections or diplomatic ties to another foreign power. And then wealth would just be goods and services or special assets that the principality might possess. Anybody want to pitch one?
I have an idea, Philip, just based on various contributions that we made to the nature of the island, between it being an active volcano, the Scorchwood, the crystals that but I'm not sure if this would fall under a specialty or just an aspect of the island. Like if it was a manifest zone for Fernia, the plane of fire, because it seems like a lot of the things point towards that. And so I know other organizations like seek out manifest zones for various needs, and it can have an effect on the actual island itself. But that was just an idea that I had pop into my head initially.
Yeah, so a Fernia manifest zone would definitely be, I would say, would be a mystical specialty of the island, or of the principality.
I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Same.
Okay, and one more.
Would the trade in ironwood, that would fall under wealth?
Yeah.
That would be my pitch.
Is there a way? I don't know. I'm looking at the categories. I don't know if it would go under might or wealth. That with our with our Scorchwood trade, we have a specialty in outfitting ships with the Scorchwood because it is very, very heavy and dense, but it would also be a great hull wood. And so being a port where that is a place that we work on our ships, but also other ships would come to us for reinforcement.
So this would be a might focus that would be about the quality of ships that are produced in the docks at Cinderport. Essentially, right?
Yeah.
That's quality rather than specificity, like material type. That it's more about quality than.
Yeah, well, the material that you guys have the asset that you guys have access to of the Scorchwood trees provides that quality.
Okay. Oh,
so
quality. Got it.
Yeah.
Understood.
That's my only pitch, but
Works for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Cool. Okay. Very good. So, returning to the scene. So we arrive back in Cinderport. You're towed in. Some smaller boats come out and take over the tow lines in order to bring the traveler's gift into a dry dock, or at least up to a dry dock, and then new lines are hooked up, and pulleys and wheels begin to work as the ship is gradually hauled up out of the water onto rollers and slides into a dry dock station. Overseeing all of this, you can see Corvin Ironhand watching with an assessing eye at the ship and at the sailors that he can see aboard it and manning it as it rolls into dry dock. Finally, with a great, clunking sound, the locks go into place, and you feel the ship shudder to a stop in the dry dock, and a gangplank is put in place for you to disembark as various workers from the docks begin to very quickly swarm onto the ship. Because I can't help myself, I'm going to say that a substantial number of the dock workers at Cinderport are kobolds.
Of course.
I'd expect no less.
So very literally sort of swarming up on the sides and starting to do some of the basic things, clearing barnacles and other detritus of drifting off of the hull, and beginning an inspection process. There's a heavy footfalls as Corvin Ironhand stumps his way up onto the deck and looks around at the ship. Cocks an eyebrow as he looks up at the empty masts, and then glances at the four of you. I hear you're to handle this, Hulk.
Should seem so.
Right. Well, he looks at the strong box and kicks it open and seems to very quickly gauge the amount of cash that is represented by the interior of it. It's a pretty fair, substantial investment, I should say. I'll give her some once over. Meet me in my office tomorrow morning after you've had a chance to rest, and we'll make plans for the refit to see that she's suited to your needs.
Aye.
Appreciate it, Corvin. Thank you.
Right, well, for now she's mine. Get off my ship.
And Orin
so.
sets the bag of dead rats down on the deck and then my shit, not my problem.
Just so you know, we didn't kill them. Just wanted
Kill
you to
who?
know. Oh, well, when you look in the bag, you'll see, and that wasn't us.
Orin
Bye.
walks over and reaches out with his mechanical prosthetic and tilts the bag over. What's great to me is we didn't kill them, referred to the rats in the bag, and not to the many dead members of the crew that are below
Yes.
deck.
Yeah.
Correct.
They are going to be hauling corpses out of here. Those, as far as he knows, we're responsible for.
It seems that way. But that is the implication of that exit. So you all
That's
head down the gangplank and into Cinderport. Where do you go at this point in the night?
Drinking. We've got a ship.
Yeah. Definitely took a couple of the coins out of the strongbox. So back to the tavern that we were first pulled away from is where Finian's headed to.
All right.
Yeah.
Back towards the molting phoenix for everyone, or
Yes. For Orin,
Are we
yes.
gonna go celebrate together? Is that
Right.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what a crew should do, don't you think?
First run's on Finian.
Okay, I can't
Apparently so.
stay long because I gotta make sure
curfew.
Aggie's okay. But yeah, I'll have a drink. Yeah,
Make sure what now?
Aggie.
Aggie. What's an Aggie?
Oh, Aggie's my my friend. Did I not tell you guys about Aggie? Well, you'll see. You'll see her.
Ooh.
I love and hate the way you said that, lass.
Is Aggie coming
Great.
to have a drink?
Should we see her now?
No.
Not fun to drink with then.
No. I mean, you know what? I haven't tried it yet, but not tonight.
Sort of a friend have you not tried drinking with?
A really,
all my
really good
friends.
friend.
A really good. I would beg to differ with you on that point.
Well, my mouth is awfully dry, so let's fix that.
That's where we're heading, mate.
So you head back into the molting phoenix. It's still going. It's late, but so not
fight
as much
that
of
we
a
left
not
is
as
still
much.
going?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
There's two
I know,
dudes still in fury at the corner.
The crowd has thinned out substantially as the night has gone on, but there's still people here, and the bard is still on stage. Although she seems to be taking a break. She's sitting at a table on the side, having some food. The skeletons are doing an elaborate dance that seems to involve juggling of their collective skulls.
Gross.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So you all get drinks, find a spot, sit down, and begin to think about your good fortune. Sahina, which person sitting at the table are you most worried about being a member of the crew?
Orin.
Why?
Right
It's a hate
choice.
crime.
Right choice.
I clocked. Sohina clocked the weirdness that something was a little off, and also the fact that Mia understands it was an unintentional killing of the man in the hammock, but the killing of the man in the hammock was upsetting.
Okay.
And not Orin's fault.
Not a phrase I would ever have expected to hear from Mia. The killing of anything, usually she's just in huge support of.
Absolutely. We're pushing Mia aside for a minute.
This is amazing roleplay out of you already.
Right? Delightful. Absolutely delightful. Ellie-wise, who are you most delighted to have as a member of this crew?
Orin, for the exact same reasons. She, that's amazing. Finian said that there was an invisible. Yes, and Finian said that there was an invisible thing in the hammock, and Orin was like, "Okay," like immediately
murdered.
Believed. Absolutely clocked the weirdness. That's great. You always have to have weirdness and someone who accepts weirdness on the crew.
Happy.
I am, and then of course, Finian and Sahina don't know, but Ellie-wise is excited about the mystery of the lost handwriting. So, ooh, this is so fun.
Also, lamest thriller novel title ever: The Mystery of the Lost Handwriting. I have no idea what it's about.
I read that Hardy
solid
Boys.
Hardy Boys, though. Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid Hardy Boys title.
Ellie-wise has to start somewhere.
Yeah,
Sure. Sure. Finian,
Sir,
who are you most worried about being on the crew?
Ellie-wise.
Why is that?
Because in the entirety of our outing, it did not appear as though she has an awareness of what logic is. There is no predictable rhyme or reason to how thoughts enter or are executed by her, and chaos is not exactly my thing.
Excellent. Orin, who are you most excited to have on this crew?
Probably Finian, because Orin finds comfort and relies upon the normalcy of others a lot of times, and of our Island of Misfit toys, Finian is the most like presentable to an average audience. So like
I've never been accused of that before.
Right. But you know, we have a Knoll Bard, slightly unhinged gnome sorcerer, and Orin has all of his weird stuff going on. So like having an old haggard artificer, great. That's the anchor we need for our ship. So that's.
Can I be on my tombstone? Play what I know, Philip.
Awesome. Just as a character point, how late do you go in celebratory drinking of your good fortune?
Is Sohina the first one to out?
Absolutely.
She stands by that she has to go?
Yes.
Finian would have been
I know.
taken the purple amulet off and just kind of held it in his hand, and had the appropriate number of drinks, participated appropriately, and then after Sohina waited maybe 5 or so minutes and gone, well, we've an early morning then, and excused himself as well.
The significance of Durga entrusting Orin with a ship. Orin is riding on cloud 9 and does not want the night to end. So Orin is in a very big party mood and is eager to drink and celebrate this. So is saddened each time one of his fellow crewmates decides to leave, but does not deter him from continuing the party on his own if need be. So.
My man.
Nice.
Ellie-wise is thrilled to be out with people, so she.
Is Ellie-wise drinking though? Or
yes.
is she just out? Okay, thank God. Just a drunk Orin with a sober Ellywise. This is a very depressing sight. There's another place we have to go to.
Okay. Drunk Orin just turns into Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. I mean, do a drunk British accent. You're gonna land there eventually.
That's cool. So eventually, you all head back to your residences. Presumably, I mean, unless Orin and Ellywise tell me that you drink till dawn and show up drunk to Corbin's
just housed
office.
Ellywise would not do that
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
Orin wants to celebrate the responsibility, not shirk it. So yeah.
Not talk them out of it.
Yeah.
You guys really know who you're giving this into?
I'm just so happy.
Boat. I just really like boats a whole lot.
Mia, tell us a little bit about Sahina's residence here in Cinderport. What's her place like?
I would say she's got a place that is fairly close to the tavern, within, well, I don't know, is there non-walking distance? Are there?
You can walk anywhere in Cinderport.
Okay.
But I mean, there's shorter distences, obviously. So,
Depending
you
on
can
your
walk to the
step
tavern.
goal.
Sounds like an
Anything's a
obnoxious thing a
walking
local
distance.
would say. You can walk to anything in Cinderport. It's full of possibilities.
And I would say her residence is modest. Just perfect size for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah. Okay. She have a little house or like a flat, or what's
It's well, I'm sorry. What's the difference between a house and a flat?
Oh, like
Flat is
a
just an
flat. Sorry,
apartment.
flat is like an apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, flat.
Yeah. Okay. As you come in, obviously you're going to be greeted by Aggie. So who do we see as Sahina walks into her domicile?
We see a mini ankylosaurus. Her full name is Aguil, and she was the runt of her litter and was ostracized. Do we want her background, or are we just?
Sure.
I'm just trying to give an idea of who she is. So Hina found her when she was younger. They have been friends for I mean, Hina considers her a friend. But she's a little mini ankylosaurus. She's had her for years. And she's very excitable. She also happens to sneeze more often than not. And when she sneezes, her little tail bashes. So there are dents all throughout the apartment.
How mini is a mini ankylosaur?
She said, "Oh, go ahead."
I believe
The
mechanically
accent.
she's small.
Yes. So we're looking at I would like to say probably Chihuahua sized without the association with Chihuahua at all.
I need to
Awesome.
acknowledge, you said that Aggie sneezes more often than not, which means at any given moment, she
Correct.
is more likely to be sneezing than not sneezing.
That's
And
like a
just
pug
bashing
snorting.
everything with her tail.
All right. Well,
Finian's
Less
new boots
often
don't
than
stand
not.
a chance.
Oh, that's so funny.
She's excitable. When she gets excited, she sneezes. When she sneezes, she bashes. So the greeting upon Sahina walking in is a tiny little gray
dinosaur.
That's a tiny little sneezing dinosaur who's just a little too big to be comfortably sitting on Sahina's shoulder, but she makes it work. Uncomfortably for Sahina, but
Sure.
but it's part of the process. So
Back
she
to
jumps up
stays
into her
bruised.
arms and just tucks into her shoulder.
That's
That's
so
amazing.
good. That's
so
so
great.
good.
That is awesome.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Finian was next out. What do we see when Finian gets on? What's Finian's dwelling like?
Finian goes back towards the docks, towards one of the workshops, one of the large ones where they're building the ships, and he has a room which is really just a workshop all the way at the top. And in that workshop, he's got really nice, organized, and clean workbenches. And there is, in one side, the only thing of note that is nice is a really good mattress and down pillows.
It's important.
That's it. That there are no other things that are not practical possessions. And across the room from that,
That's how we know that
there's-
Finian's over 30.
Hang on, the things we own are supposed to have purpose. Oh no. Across the room from that is a dinged and dented and frankly quite ugly but being worked on suit of armor. And the left arm is on the island workbench in the center. And he walks in and takes his eye patch off of his eye and sets it onto almost like we would have for a smartwatch charger, and goes and lays straight down into bed.
That's fascinating. I like that a lot. Cool. So, those two depart. Eliwise and Orin stay long at the bar, and are probably some of the last to leave, trailing back to your own domiciles and crashing for the night. And early in the morning, you are expected back at Corvin's office at the docks. And that is where we will pick up next time, and we'll build a ship. So, thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back with another episode next week. In the meantime, if you'd like to get in touch with us, you could do so at various links down in the description at Colin's Twitch, where he is Sorry BTR. The O is 0. You can also hear Colin and me talking about stuff on the I Never Got Into That podcast. Mia's Twitch, where she is More Than a Mia, as well as to the Geek Pantheon's YouTube channel, where you'll find Eric making all sorts of TTRPG videos. Go check those things out. They are great. New episode of Blades and Banners this coming Monday. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.